Hi, I'm Zach, and this is Challenger Vedic Astrology and Tarot. Welcome to the channel. Alright, today we're going to be talking about Mars transit into Leo. And if you like this video and want to see more great content like it, be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps out me in the channel. To be notified whenever I release a new video, be sure to hit the bell icon and select all. And if you'd like a Vedic Sidereal birth chart, a personal tarot reading, or an astrology consultation, the links to those will be in the description box and the comments below. And if you'd like to donate to help support the channel, the links to those will be in the description box as well. Alright, so Mars is transiting into Leo, and it's going to be conjunct Ketu for the entire transit. This is going to be taking place from June 6th to July 28th. Now, these are two malefic planets. Mars is cuts, burns. Mars is war. Ketu is cuts. Ketu's job is to cut you from this world. So, with that, Ketu is tied to other worlds. It's tied to the realms of the dead, even. It is the other side, away from this mortal coil. So, there will be negative information shared at the start of this video. Now, I'm not going to be super negative when we're talking about personal predictions, but we are going to talk about some of the negative stuff before then. So if you want to skip ahead to your zodiac sign, feel free. But first, we're going to talk about what this means when Mars and Ketu are conjunct. So of course, we definitely see there will be violence in some way on the global stage. Mars and Ketu together. But one thing that we see is if you are getting a surgery, be very careful. During this time, you should reschedule it. Because Mars is cuts, Mars is blood, and Ketu is also cuts. When these two are conjunct, there will be excessive bleeding that can take place during a surgery. So if you're getting a surgery during this time, reschedule it until after July 28th. Okay, very serious warning for y'all. But Mars is the physical planet here. So we have to look at the zodiac sign that Mars rules. That's going to be very important. And Ketu doesn't really rule a zodiac sign. It's a co-ruler of Scorpio. But it does rule nakshatras. So, we have the sign of Aries and Scorpio coming into play. And we also have the nakshatras of Ketu coming into play. And of course, the nakshatras of Mars. But what commonality is there between these? Well, Mars rules the sign of Aries. Ketu, its nakshatras lie at the start of every fire sign. So, in this case, we're talking about Ashwini. Now, nakshatras are constellations, for those that don't know. They're very important. So, we see Ashwini and the sign of Aries becoming very significant. That nakshatra within Aries. So what does Ashwini represent? It represents impatience. It's tied to horses. So wanting to go fast. So that impatience comes into play. It's also tied to healing medicines. Back in the day, they would create antibodies by mixing venom with horse blood. So horses are very strongly tied to medicine. So we see this theme of healing with this as well. Mars and Ketu combined, that can be a combination of a surgeon, especially if it's tied to Saturn. Or even tied to Venus. Because Venus is how you make your money. But what we also see, though, now here is when I start getting into the negatives. Outside of violence, but that one should be fairly obvious. So, if you want to skip ahead to your zodiac sign, you can do that. But you've had your warning. So, Ashwini, part of the mythology it's tied to pranksters and jokesters. But in the mythology, there is a theme of kidnapping that takes place, tied to the Ashwin Kumars. So, one thing that you can see is kidnapping will take place when this conjunction is triggered on a global scale. I'm not talking about personally. You have to have the yogas or combinations in your birth chart for that to take place. And I will not be discussing those here. But we definitely see kidnapping becomes relevant on a global stage. Now, what we also see is, of course, violence. Now, I'm going to reference the last 3 times that Mars and Ketu were conjunct. So, the last time was in Libra. This was back in October of 2023. The day after this conjunction started, October 7th, the Hamas attack on Israel. A lot of people were kidnapped. And note, Libra is the original sign of the 7th house, the masses. So, a lot of people would be affected. But with this, also, the genocide on Gaza that followed. The genocide of the Palestinian people. So, we clearly see kidnapping, violence. Once again, on a global level. Some significant event tied to that will happen. Not to scare any of you all, but this is reality. Now, the time before that was when Ketu and Mars were in Scorpio. Now, Scorpio is the original sign of the 8th house. So this was January 2022. Now, there wasn't any significant violence, on a mass scale or anything like that. But what did happen? There was an event where the first pig's heart was transplanted into a human. I believe it was the first pig's organ to be transplanted, or any other animal's organ, transplanted into a human. So, Scorpio is the original sign of the 8th house of surgeries. Remember, you always read originally from the sign of Aries. It's the original ascendant. If Earth has an ascendant, it's Aries. So, you see 8th house of surgeries and Ashwini. That nakshatra is tied to healing, so a medical breakthrough. So don't think this is all bad. There's positive and negative. But once again, these are malefics. It will lean more negative. Make no mistake. Now, the time before that was when Ketu and Mars were in Sagittarius. This was February 2020. That's when COVID spread to the US. Now, we are talking about on a global stage, but a major medical issue happened overseas that went a far distance. Sagittarius is a sign of long distance travel. So, a pandemic, the spreading of that, came to the US. And the US handled that very poorly. So, you saw a lot of death. Once again, Ketu and Mars. Except this threat was medical in nature. Or viral. Required medicine. Okay. So, that's what happened the last 3 times that this conjunction took place. Now, let's talk about this time. So, Ketu and Mars are going to be in Leo. Now, Leo is the sign of the original 5th house. So, on a general level, now I am not saying this is going to happen for sure for any of you. I haven't seen your charts. Unless I have, in which case I still don't talk about, yogas for kidnapping. But I would say in general, be more protective of your children during this time if you have children. Fifth house is the original sign of the fifth. Leo is the original sign of the fifth house of children. So in general, you need to be more careful of children. I would say, especially in the U.S., school shootings. Something like that could definitely take place. And it could be on a larger scale than usual. But the main thing that's likely to happen is Leo is the sign of the king. Fifth house and Leo are tied to politics. So there will be political uprisings, political violence. That becomes significant with this. With Ketu and Mars conjunct in transit. Okay. But I just felt it was important to go over all of this with you. With you all. Yeah. Once again, these are two malefics. There will be malefic events. But now let's talk about what's going to happen for each of you as individuals. And I will not be talking about negative events that will take place for individuals. I don't do that. Okay, but make sure that you read your transits from your ascendant, from your moon, and from your sun sign. Ascendant is your overall path in life. It's a sign that was rising in the east at the time you were born. It sets the course of your life. Moon is your mind, your emotions. It's how you think and feel about your reality. So you also read transits from there. And you read transits from your sun. Sun is your body to some extent, and it's also your soul. So it's what your soul's experiencing in this world, what your body's experiencing. You have to read transits from the sun. Yes, even if you're following Vedic astrology. I know, it's not very common in Vedic astrology, but the more you know. Hopefully, it spreads far and wide. Look at transits from all 3 points and combine the meanings of those transits, and you will get even more information. Okay, but we're going to jump into it and start with Aries, like always. Okay, Aries. So, for you, Aries, Mars is transiting into Leo, your 5th house. And it's going to be conjunct Ketu. So, Mars is your energy and your drive. It's also cuts, burns, bruises, accidents, broken bones. And Mars is going to be with Ketu, which is also tied to cuts. So, this is taking place in the 5th house. 5th house is romance, fun and games, children, students, subordinates, education, counseling, politics. 5th house is speculative gains through stock market, through gambling, through business. It's creativity, arts, and sports. So, with Mars being here, with Ketu, first off, see, if you already have children, there can be difficulty with them during this time. There could be conflict with them. Children could even sustain some kind of injury. So, definitely keep more of an eye on them than usual. Also, for women who are pregnant, about to give birth, during this time, there could be a C-section. Ketu and Mars can definitely show that. Now, the other thing you see, there can be difficulty in education with this. There can be conflict with a mentor, conflict with fellow students. In sports, be careful of sustaining some kind of injury. With Ketu and Mars conjunct, there can definitely be a sports-related injury. But you have the energy and drive to pursue things during this time. So, in that regard, it can be good for sports. It can be good for creativity even. It can be good for technical education. If your education's tied to like construction or engineering, this can actually be a very good transit. this can be a bit of a mixed bag when it comes to romance, because there can be conflict in romance, fights and arguments. Now, Mars is providing that energy and drive when it comes to having speculative gains, though. So, this can be very good for making money through business. Don't think with Ketu being there, you can't make money through business. Ketu can actually, Ketu's tied to past life merits. So, you can actually have past life good karma to gain through business during this time. And Mars is providing that energy. But you will definitely be impatient here, because Ashwini, the nakshatra of Ashwini, is being triggered. So impatient when it comes to education, impatient when it comes to having children. Impatient when it comes to education. I think I already said that. Romance is the other thing I meant. Okay. Now, the other thing, 5th house is the upper belly to like the middle of your back. That region is where you can sustain an injury during this time. So be careful. But now, let's talk about the aspects of Mars. Mars is a 4th aspect of protection and conquest that's falling on the 8th house. So, 8th house is sex. 8th house is death, wills, inheritance, estates, legacies. It's taxes, it's other people's money, it's your in-laws. It's joint finances and relationships and in business. It's the occult, it's research, it's psychological baggage. It's sun ups and downs and transformation. It's also surgeries. So, here, you may want to control the joint finances. And be careful, that can definitely lead to fights and arguments. With this, you may really want to pursue research during this time. If you're involved in a education that requires research, this would be a good use of this Mars transit. But here, Mars wants to help you overcome the sun ups and downs of life. Here, there can be impatience when it comes to romance, and with Mars aspect of conquest on the 8th house of sex, definitely a person can be impatient about having sex and romance. So that can also be seen. Now, the 7th aspect of Mars is going to fall on the 11th house. 7th aspect is the relationship aspect. But with Mars, it brings conflict. So 11th house is your elder siblings. It's your paternal aunts and uncles. It's your friends, your network circle, large organizations, large gatherings, parties. It's stock market, it's gains, it's hopes, wishes, and desires. But 11th house is also 6th from the 6th. It's the higher form of your obstacles, higher form of health issues, the most significant health issues. It's also 12th from the 12th, so it also represents loss. So, with this, mainly we see there can be conflict with elder siblings, conflict with paternal aunts and uncles, conflict with your friends, conflict with a large organization. Now, the 8th aspect of Mars brings sun ups and downs and transformation. That's going to fall in the 12th house. So, 12th house is bed pleasure, sex, and sleep. It's spirituality. It's anywhere you feel isolated, jails, hospitals, asylums, monasteries. It's losses of all kinds, including financial. It's investing, because when you invest money, you're temporarily losing money. It's donations. It's addictions. It's fantasy. It's outer space and other worlds. It's also foreign people, foreign travel, and multinational companies. So, we see there can be a sudden change in your sex life. There can be a sudden change in your spiritual views. There can be a sudden sudden losses that come into play, or suddenly transforming, where you were having losses, no longer having losses. There could be sudden travel that takes place. Okay. Or there can even be sudden investing. Sudden investments you make. Be careful with that. Remember, Mars and Ketu can make you very impatient when it comes to those speculative gains, like through investing. And especially with Ketu, a person can be headless when it comes to that. One last note about Mars in your 5th house. 5th house is also 8th from the 10th house. It's the sudden change and transformation of your career. So this can show change of job, or getting demoted or promoted. So that could also be the case for some of you. But alright, moving on to Taurus. Taurus, for you, Mars is transiting in Leo, your 4th house, with Ketu. So, Mars is your energy and your drive. It's cuts, burns, bruises, accidents, broken bones. And it's with Ketu. Ketu is also tied to cuts. Now, 4th house is your mother. Mother figures. It's home, land, real estate. It's vehicles. It's your comfort and your happiness. So, with this, we clearly see that there will be conflict with your mother and at home. There can definitely be conflict there. Things won't be peaceful. Also, when Mars and Ketu are conjunct, you will see Ashwini. That nakshatra gets triggered. So there will be impatience tied to the 4th house. Impatience tied to getting a car, repairing a car. Impatience tied to repairing a home, getting a home. Impatience tied with the people in the home. But also Ashwini is tied to going fast. Be very careful here. Mars and Ketu in the 4th house. You can be so impatient that you drive too fast, get ticketed, or get into an accident. So, I'm warning you in advance. Now you know. Now, the other thing. For those women who are pregnant, about to give birth, 4th house is also the womb. So Mars and Ketu being here can show, if you have a child during this time, it could be through C-section. So make sure you get to a hospital if you know that's a possibility. Hopefully you know. Alright. But, yeah, there can definitely be conflict at home with this, for sure. Things will not be peaceful. But this is a good time for having a lot of energy to do something around the home. To clean your home, to repair your home, to have work done on the home, to have plumbing done, that kind of thing. Same thing with the car. You have a lot of energy to do that. But be careful when it comes to making big decisions tied to this, because Ketu is headless. So you can be so impatient that you make headless decisions where you don't think clearly. Like you don't have that head. Now, for this though, Ketu is good when it comes to gut instinct. When it comes to trusting your intuition. Trust your gut. Alright, now let's talk about the aspects of Mars. So Mars is a 4th, 7th, and 8th aspect. 4th aspect is going to fall on your 7th house. As the aspect of conquest and protection. So, 7th house is marriage, relationships, business, and business partner. It's the masses, all the people you meet out in the world. It's 4th from the 4th, higher form of your comfort and happiness. It's 10th from the 10th, higher form of your career, your status, your reputation, your fame. So with this, we see you can be overly domineering in a relationship, especially if this is someone you're living with. Because they're in the home with Mars and Ketu. But what we also see with this is you may want to protect them, be more protective of them than usual. Same thing with your business. You can be overly domineering when it comes to your business during this time. Maybe you need to be, but in case you're being a little overbearing, just try to keep that in mind. Okay. Now, seventh aspect is the relationship aspect, but with Mars, it brings conflict. That's falling on the 10th house. 10th house is your workplace, your managers and your bosses, and also government. So, you can get into conflict with these people. You can get into conflict with people at work, especially managers and bosses. You can get into conflict with people in the government, like a police officer, especially if you're speeding. So be very careful with that. Otherwise, you'll find yourself landing in the 12th house of jail. Okay. Now, 8th aspect is falling on the 11th house. 8th aspect is about sudden ups and downs and transformation. So, 11th house is your elder siblings. It's your paternal aunts and uncles. It's your friends, your network circle, large organizations, large gatherings, parties. It's stock market, it's gains. It's 6 from the 6, higher form of health issues, the bigger health issues that you deal with. It's also the greatest enemy that you deal with. It's 12th from the 12th, higher form of loss. And it's also your hopes, wishes, and desires. So, very complicated house. But there will be sudden changes here. Transformation takes place here. Maybe there's a sudden change with your elder sibling. Maybe you had a bad relationship with them and now it's becoming a better relationship. Maybe you're changing your friend group. Maybe you're leaving a large organization or that organization is transforming. Maybe you're having sudden gains. Maybe you're having sudden health issues or sudden losses. Okay. Now, the other thing that we see is, real quick, Mars represents accidents, especially like cuts. Ketu is also cuts. Now, in the 4th house is tied to the chest and upper back. So, you can have some kind of accident, a cut or a burn, something like that, on that area of the body. So, be careful. Alright. That's what I have for you. Moving on to Gemini. Gemini. For you, Mars and Ketu are going to be in Leo, your 3rd house. Mars is your energy and your drive. It's also accidents. And it's going to be with Ketu. Ketu is headless. Ketu also represents cuts, just like Mars. So now this is in the 3rd house. 3rd house is younger siblings. It's cousins, neighbors, social media. It's media, it's the internet. It's communication of all kinds, including writing. It's arts and sports. It's a house of travel, short distance mainly, but even foreign travel, because 12th from the 4th, furthest place from your homeland. Now, it's also a house of self-effort. It's a house of skills. It's 8th from the 8th. Higher form of sun ups and downs and transformation. Transformation through self-effort is the 3rd house. So now you have Mars here with Ketu. So, this is difficult when it comes to your relationship with your younger siblings, with your cousins, with your neighbors, with people on social media. There will be conflict. Mars is a soldier. Ketu is the standing army. So definitely there will be conflict. Be very careful about your communication during this time. You will communicate without thinking, without using your head. Why? Because Ketu doesn't have a head. You will be headless in your communication during this time. Especially with what you type. Because 2nd house is speech, but 3rd house is writing and typing. So, be careful about being a little keyboard warrior. It will get you in trouble. But when it comes to arts and sports, this can be very good. But I will advise you, you can definitely receive an injury while, being involved in sports. Because Mars and Ketu together, definitely there can be an injury. But here, you have a lot of energy to put forth effort during this time. But you have to be careful, because Ketu is there as well, making you headless about where you're putting forth your effort. So this can be an issue. You can't rely on logical thought here. When it comes to this house during this time, you have to rely on your intuition, your gut instinct. That's what will serve you when it comes to these areas of life. You can't rely on that logical thought, though. Now, third house is also the fingertips up to the shoulder, that area of the body. So, those are the areas where you can receive an injury during this time if you're not careful. Now, let's talk about the aspects of Mars. So, Mars' fourth aspect is going to fall in the sixth house. So, fourth aspect is about protection and conquest. Sixth house is maternal aunts and uncles. It's your coworkers, it's your pets, it's your enemies. It's your everyday work, everyday routines. It's debt, it's competition, it's conflict, it's obstacles, it's legal disputes, it's health issues and accidents. It's also tied to sports. Like I said, competition. So, with this, we see you want to conquer these areas of life or protect. So, you want to protect yourself from health issues during this time, which would cause a person to be putting forth all of that effort. But this can be bad for your relationship with your maternal aunts and uncles. You can be overly domineering, controlling. There can be a flip side to this. You can be so protective to the point that you overdo it. Or you can just be an asshole. That can also be the case. Same thing with your pets. So be careful, Don't hurt your pup or your cat or whatever animal you have. Same thing with your coworkers. Now, where this will be great is with your enemies. Mars is giving you the energy to defeat your enemies, to overcome obstacles, to overcome debt. Okay. Now, seventh aspect is the relationship aspect. But with Mars, it causes conflict. So, that's going to fall in the ninth house. Ninth house is your father figures. It's your mentors, teachers, gurus. It's religious people. It's people tied to the law. So, during this time, these are the people that you can get into conflict with. Be careful with that. The eighth aspect is going to fall on the 10th house. Now, eighth aspect is tied to sun ups and downs and transformation. So, 10th house is your workplace, your managers and your bosses. It's your career, your status, your fame, your reputation. It's government, especially national government. It's the highest house of karma. It's your karmic actions that the world notices. So, we see there will be sudden changes tied to this house. There can be a sudden change with your career that takes place. Maybe you're getting demoted. Maybe you're getting promoted. Maybe you're getting a new job. Maybe you are transferring to a new location. Or maybe there's a change in management. There can even be a change in your government that takes place. Change in your reputation. Make sure it's not for the worse because of your headless communication. Alright, that's what I have for you, Gemini. Moving on to Cancer. Alright, Cancer. So, Mars and Ketu are going to be in your second house in Leo. Mars is your energy and your drive. Mars is also conflict and accidents. And it's with Ketu. Ketu represents cuts. Ketu is headless. Ketu relies on intuition or gut instinct to make proper decisions. So with this being in the second house is your family. It's your finances, your earnings, your savings, your bank account. It's your possessions. It's what you value. It's your speech. So with this, we clearly see there will be conflict with the family. Definitely. There can be conflict with financial institutions like a bank. There can be issues around money during this time. Now, this isn't to say that you can't make money during this time. Mars is energizing this house. But Mars in the second house makes a person spend money on essentials rather than wants and desires. Mars is a soldier. Mars wants the practical. So, on one hand, you'll be making more money, but you'll be spending that money on practical needs. Like food, clothes, shelter. But with Ketu, you can make headless decisions with money. You can be too quick to make a decision because the nakshatra of Ashwini is being triggered here, which is tied to impatience and going fast. Also, this is the second house of speech. You can make headless decisions and say something without thinking. Say something very combative, especially with a family, especially in regards to finances. So we see that as well. Also, for some of you, second house is the face. There could be some kind of injury to the face during this time. Especially, to those who shave. Be careful. You have Mars, which is cuts and blood, and you have Ketu, which is cuts. So be careful while shaving. Okay. Now, let's talk about the aspects of Mars. Mars has a fourth aspect of protection and conquest that's going to fall in the fifth house. Fifth house is children, students, subordinates. It's romance, fun and games, education. It's counseling, it's arts, it's sports, creativity. It's politics, it's speculative gain through stock markets, through gambling, through business. So, with this, we see you want to conquer these areas of life. You want to achieve something in your education. This can be a good aspect for achieving something in sports. As long as you don't break your nose or something. Be careful. Once again, face injuries can happen. But you also see that can take place. This will be a time where you want to have romance in your life. Mars is trying to give you the energy, the drive to have that in your life. Mars is trying to help you achieve speculative gains so that you can have more money in your bank account. But you can be overly domineering with your children during this time. You need to be careful with that. You can be overprotective to the point that you come off as controlling. Also, during this time, fifth house is politics. Be careful because you will be, wanting to dominate when it comes to politics. Careful with that headless speech so it doesn't bite you in the ass. Okay. Seventh aspect is the relationship aspect. With Mars, it brings conflict. That's going to fall in the 8th house. So, 8th house is also tied to financial institutions. It's your in-laws. It's occultists, researchers. So be careful. You can get into conflict with these people. Just don't bring it my way. Okay. Now, the 8th aspect of sun ups and downs and transformation is falling on the 9th house. 9th house is father figures. It's your mentors, teachers, gurus. It's religion, philosophy, the law. It's long distance travel, pilgrimage, publishing. It's your ancestry. It's luck and fortune. So, also, to clarify, it's your ancestry in general, not just your paternal lineage. But with this, we see there can be a sudden change in your philosophical beliefs, in your religious beliefs, in your legal views. There can be a transformation of these things. There can be change that takes place with your father in his life. There can be sudden travels that take place. Also, ninth house is higher education, beyond a bachelor's degree or outside of typical schooling. It's also a house of counseling. So there could be a change in your education as well during this time. Alright, well that's what I have for you, Cancer. Moving on to Leo. So, Leo, for you, Mars and Ketu are transiting in the first house. So, Mars is your energy and drive. Mars is conflict. Mars is accidents. And then you have Ketu. So Ketu is cuts. Ketu is headless. So now this is in the first house. First house is you. Your physical health. Your body. It's your overall path in life. It's the head. So, now, you're headless. Ketu is in the first house. So you're not thinking logically during this time. Or if you do, you will make major mistakes in your life. Ketu is headless. It relies on its intuition. On its gut instinct. You need to do the same. And especially with Mars and Ketu conjunct, the nakshatra of Ashwini comes alive. Meaning you will be impatient during this time. You'll be quick to make the wrong decision. So trust your intuition. Rely on that gut instinct. But during this time, Mars is giving you a lot of energy physically. But be careful with Ketu, another malefic. That can definitely lead to injury. To the body in general, but the head region mainly. But Mars giving you all that energy allows you to have the energy to accomplish what you want in life. Mars in the first house makes you superhuman, practically. You can do more than most people when you have Mars in the first house. At least physically. Now, let's talk about the aspects of Mars. Mars has a fourth aspect of protection and conquest, falling on the fourth house. Fourth house is mother figures. It's home, land, real estate, vehicles. It's your comfort and your happiness. So, with Mars aspect here, we can see that you can be overly domineering with the people of the home. You want to protect the people in your home. You want to protect your mother. You want to protect your car. Protect the home. Protect your comfort and happiness. But be careful that over-domineering, is the flip side of that desire to protect. Now, the seventh aspect is the relationship aspect. But with Mars, it brings conflict. That's falling on the seventh house. Seventh house is relationships, marriage, business partner. It's the masses, all the people you meet on the world. So you can get into conflict with a lot of people during this time. But especially in relationships and with a business partner. So be careful of that. You've been warned. Alright, but the eighth aspect of sudden ups and downs and transformation is falling on the eighth house. So eighth house is sex. Eighth house is in-laws. It's joint finances and relationships and in business. It's death, wills, inheritance, estates, legacies, taxes. It's other people's money. It's the occult. It's research. It's psychological baggage. It's surgeries. It's sun ups and downs and transformation. So, with this, there can be a sudden change in your sex life. There can be a sudden change with your in-laws. There can be a sudden change in joint finances with your partner. There can be a transformation of those joint finances. There can be sudden interest in the occult. There can be a transformation of your psychological baggage, hopefully for the better. But alright, that's what I have for you, Leo. Moving on to Virgo. Okay, Virgo. For you, Mars is transiting in Leo, your 12th house, with Ketu. So, Mars is your energy and your drive. Mars is cuts and accidents. It's conflict. Ketu is also cuts. Ketu is headless. Ketu relies on intuition or gut instinct. It's not able to use logic and reason. It has to rely on that gut instinct. So, with Mars and Ketu being in your 12th house. 12th house is bed pleasure, sex and sleep. It's spirituality. It's anywhere you feel isolated, jails, hospitals, asylums, monasteries. It's losses of all kinds, including financial. It's investing, because when you invest money, you're temporarily losing money. It's also donations. It's foreign people, foreign travel, multinational companies. It's addictions. It's fantasy. It's outer space and other worlds. So, with Mars and Ketu being here, we see you can make headless decisions when it comes to foreign travel. You can make headless decisions when it comes to your sex life. You can make headless decisions when it comes to investments. You need to rely on your intuition during this time. In general, for the transit of Ketu here, but especially with Mars being here. Because Mars and Ketu combined, when they are conjunct, the nakshatra of Ashwini is triggered. Ashwini is tied to impatience and going fast. So, you can come to a decision too fast. You can be impatient, and that will lead you to making the wrong decisions. Also, there can be something significant when it comes to some medical issue that you're having. Now, this would actually lean positive, because with Mars and Ketu being in the 12th house, that could actually help you get medical care that you need. But these are two malefics, so I'm not saying everything will be positive with this. Also, 12th house is the feet. So, there can be some accident when it comes to the feet. Getting a sprain or getting a broken bone or something. If you're not careful. There can also be conflict with foreign people. There can be frustration because of feeling isolated. There can be frustration due to losses. Especially if you make bad financial decisions with Ketu being there. Okay, now let's talk about the aspects. So, there's a fourth aspect of protection and conquest that's going to fall on the third house. Third house is your younger siblings, your cousins, your neighbors. It's communications of all kinds, including writing. It's social media. It's media. It's the internet. It's your skills. It's short distance travel, but it can even be foreign travel because it's 12th from the 4th. Furthest place from your homeland. Third house is also arts and sports. It's also marketing and sales. And it's self-effort. So, with that, it's also 8th from the 8th. It's the higher form of sun ups and downs and transformation. Transformation through self-effort. Okay. So, with this, we see you'll be overly domineering with your younger siblings, with your cousins, possibly with your neighbors, most likely conflict with your neighbors. But you'll be overprotective with your younger siblings, with your cousins, and that will lead to conflict. You can be overly domineering. You can over-index. You want to be in charge when it comes to media. Like, you want to be in control of that. When it comes to marketing and sales, you can be too forceful. This can be great when it comes to sports. But remember what I said. Be careful. There can be some kind of injury, especially to the feet. Now, this is good, though, for having the energy to accomplish something. Mars wants to conquer the house of effort. So this can be good for that. Now, 7th aspect of Mars is the relationship aspect. And that brings conflict when Mars is involved. So that's falling on the 6th house. 6th house is your maternal aunts and uncles. It's your coworkers. It's your pets. It's your enemies. So you can get into conflict with these people or even these animals. Leave your pets out of it. They deserve better. As for the rest, up to you, I guess. Alright. Now, 8th aspect brings sun ups and downs and transformation. That's falling on the 7th house. So, 7th house is relationships, marriage, business partner. It's the masses, all the people you meet out in the world. It's 4th from the 4th, higher form of your comfort and happiness. It's 10th from the 10th, higher form of your career, your status, your fame, your reputation. It's the furthest place from where you were born, because it's opposite the 1st house. Because 1st house is where you come alive. So, it can even represent foreign lands. So with this, we see there can be a sudden change in your relationships. Maybe you suddenly get into a relationship. Maybe you suddenly break up. Maybe you get engaged or get married. There can be a transformation of your relationship, your business. There can be a transformation of your reputation and your career. Maybe you get promoted. Maybe you get demoted. Maybe you transfer to a new location. There can be a transformation of that comfort and happiness. Or sudden comfort and happiness that comes into play. There can even be sudden travel. Remember, be careful about being impatient. Okay, that's what I have for you, Virgo. Moving on to Libra. Alright, Libra. So, for you, Libra, Mars and Ketu are transiting in Leo, your 11th house. Mars is your energy and your drive. It's conflict. It's accidents. And Ketu is cuts. Ketu is headless. Ketu relies on intuition or gut instinct. Because Ketu being headless, logic and reason aren't there. So, with Mars and Ketu here in the 11th house. 11th house is elder siblings. It's paternal aunts and uncles. It's your friends, your network circle. Large organizations, large gatherings. Parties. It's stock market. It's gains. It's 6th from the 6th. The greatest health issues that you deal with are the 11th house. It's also the greatest enemies that you deal with. 12th from the 12th. It's also a higher form of losses. The greatest losses that you deal with. And it's your hopes, wishes, and desires. So with Mars and Ketu being here, definitely there will be conflict with your elder siblings, with your paternal aunts and uncles, with your friends. And with a large organization can be there as well. Here, you can make headless decisions when it comes to your dealings with these people. You can make headless decisions when it comes to how to acquire gains. Also, 11th house is the region of the leg, the calf region and ankle region. In this region, you can sustain some kind of injury during this time. That is also possible here. But Mars here is energizing your gains. Now, I will say, be careful when it comes to like investing in the stock market during this time, if you have plans to do that, because Ketu is headless. If you think logically and with reason, you will make the wrong decision. So if you're going to do that, trust your gut instinct. But I'm not a financial advisor, so take this with a grain of salt if you like. Okay. But yeah. So these are the things that we see here. But now let's talk about the aspects of Mars. So Mars has a fourth aspect of protection and conquest, falling on the second house. Second house is your family. It's your finances, your earnings, your savings, your bank account. It's your possessions. It's what you value. It's your speech. So here, you can be so protective of the family that you are over-domineering. You can over-index. Same thing with your finances. So protective of your finances that you overdo it. Get into fights because of money. Same thing with possessions. But this can be a very good time to make money. Mars is energizing the house of gains in the 11th house. And with its aspect to the second house, definitely energizing earnings as well. Now, 7th aspect of Mars brings conflict. It's the relationship aspect. But with Mars, there will be conflict. This is falling on the 5th house. 5th house is children, students, subordinates. It's educational environment. It's politics. So, you can get into conflict with these people. You can get into conflict with your children. You can get into conflict with people in your education. You can get into conflict with your students. Get into conflict with people over political views. Also, 5th house is counseling. So, you can get into conflict with counselors, like doctors, lawyers, psychiatrists, the people who counsel you. Okay. Now, the 8th aspect is falling on the 6th house. 8th aspect is about sudden ups and downs and transformation. So, 6th house is maternal aunts and uncles. It's your pets. It's your coworkers. It's your enemies. It's your everyday work, everyday routines. It's debt. It's competition. It's conflict. It's legal disputes. It's obstacles. It's health issues and accidents. So, clearly, we see there can be sudden health issues and accidents, especially because Mars and Ketu are sitting in the 11th house, where the biggest health issues take place. So in general, definitely there can be health issues with this. So be aware of that. But there can also be a change with your maternal aunts and uncles. There can be a change in your work. There can be a change with your pets. I would also say, in particular, pets' health. Because pets' health issues, that's the 11th house. Because 6th from the 6th. So, that may be something that you might deal with as well. But, there can also be transformation with your enemies. Enemies can suddenly be defeated during this time. So, it's not all bad. There can be a transformation of your debt. Hopefully, that would be for the better as well. But, that's what I have for you, Libra. Moving on to Scorpio. Scorpio. So, Ketu and Mars are transiting in Leo, your 10th house. Well, Mars is your energy and your drive. It's conflict. It's accidents. And it's with Ketu. Ketu is cuts. Ketu is headless. There we go. Ketu can't use logic and reason. Ketu relies on intuition or gut instinct. So, now you have to do the same when it comes to this house. But with Ketu and Mars being here, 10th house is career. It's your fame, your status, your reputation. It's your workplace, your managers, your bosses. It's government, especially national government. 10th house is the highest house of karma. It's karmic actions that the world notices. So, even if you're out of work or retired, 10th house still matters. 10th house is also the knees. So, we clearly see there can be an injury to the knees during this time. These are two malefics, make no mistake. So be careful so that it doesn't happen. Now, what we also see, there can be conflict with people in the workplace. There can be conflict with people in government. Because 10th house is government. Ketu and Mars there clearly shows there can be conflict. So it could be something like a legal issue. But Mars is giving you the energy and drive to achieve some form of status in your career. To achieve some fame, some recognition. But be careful with this. Ketu and Mars together. You can make headless, rash actions. Especially because this conjunction triggers the nakshatra of Ashwini. Ashwini is tied to impatience. So, because you're impatient, you will make headless decisions. You want to achieve something in your career, and you want to do it fast. So you can make the wrong decisions. Especially if you're relying on your brain. You have to pretend like your brain doesn't exist during this time. Trust your intuition. Okay, but now let's talk about the aspects of Mars. So Mars is the fourth aspect of protection and conquest. That'll fall in the first house. So first house is you. It's your physical body. It's your overall path in life. So with this, we see you want to protect your body. You want to overcome your body. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, you want to overcome any health issues you're dealing with. You want to be the one that controls your health. You want to overcome any health issues you're dealing with. And Mars is giving you the energy to do that. Now, seventh aspect of Mars, or any planet, is the relationship aspect. But with Mars, it brings conflict. This is falling on the fourth house. Fourth house is mother figures. It's people of the home, people of the homeland. So these are the people you can get into conflict with. Be careful if you don't want that. And especially, this can be, with people that, work on cars as well. The reason I say that, fourth house is cars, and Ketu and Mars trigger Ashwini. Ashwini is also tied to cars. It's tied to impatience. So, for instance, you can get into a conflict with a mechanic. Okay. Now, the eighth aspect of Mars brings sun ups and downs and transformation. That's falling on the fifth house. So, fifth house is children, students, subordinates. It's romance, fun and games, education. Fifth house is counseling. Fifth house is politics. It's creativity, arts, and sports. It's speculative gains through stock market, through gambling, through business. It's also 8th from the 10th. Sun ups and downs and transformation of career. So, there can definitely be a transformation of career during this time. Now, that could be something like getting a new job. That could be losing a job. That could be getting demoted. That could be getting promoted. That could mean transferring to a new location to work. There could be a change in romance during this time. If you are in a romance, you could begin a new one. There can be a change of your education. Change of your political views. Change in national politics could even take place. Now, that doesn't mean, this happens every time, but, or, even that it's going to be a big change, but this could be a minor change that takes place. After all, we're looking at a personal chart here. Well, personal transit. There we go. Okay. There can also be sudden changes that take place with your children. So we see that as well. Okay. Oh, and a transformation of your art, of your creativity. Can be there also. Okay, that's what I have for you, Scorpio. Moving on to Sagittarius. Sagittarius. So, for you, Mars and Ketu are transiting in Leo, your 9th house. Mars is conflict. Mars is accidents. Mars is your energy and your drive. It's there with Ketu. Ketu is cuts. Ketu is headless. Ketu cannot rely on logic and reason. Ketu relies on intuition or gut instinct. So, with this conjunction in the 9th house, 9th house is father figures. It's your mentors, teachers, gurus. It's religion, philosophy, the law. It's long distance travel, pilgrimage, publishing. It's higher education beyond a bachelor's degree and outside of typical schooling. 9th house is counseling. 9th house is your ancestral lineage, not just on the father's side, but also the mother's side. 9th house is also your luck and your fortune. So, with this, we see definitely there can be conflict with your father. There can be conflict with your mentors, your teachers, conflict in education. There can be conflict due to religious disputes or philosophical disagreements. Conflict in a legal issue can be there. You can get into conflict with the people who counsel you, like doctors, lawyers, psychiatrists, even financial advisors. Now, 9th house is the thigh region of the body, so there can be some accident to the thigh region if you're not careful. Remember, these are two malefics. Whenever two malefics are conjunct, with Sun it can be light, but with the other malefics, it can be more significant. Now, I didn't feel the need to mention this with the other signs, but for you, I'm feeling the need to mention it. So maybe this is important. 9th house is the father. Father could sustain some kind of injury. So maybe for you all, it's more significant. Maybe it's because you're Sagittarius Ascendant. Sagittarius is the sign of the 9th house father, after all. Okay. But those things can take place. Now, with this though, we see the nakshatra of Ashwini comes into play because Ketu and Mars, their conjunction, triggers this nakshatra. Ashwini is tied to impatience. And with Ketu there, Ketu is headless. So, impatience leading to headless decisions being made. Especially when it comes to travel, when it comes to education, when it comes to, the Aries of the 9th house. So, be careful when you're making these decisions. There we go. Okay. Now, let's talk about the aspects of Mars. So, Mars' 4th aspect is the aspect of protection and conquest. That's falling on the 12th house. 12th house is bed pleasure, sex, and sleep. It's spirituality. It's anywhere you feel isolated. Jails, hospitals, asylums, monasteries. It's losses of all kinds, including financial. It's investing, because when you invest money, you're temporarily losing money. It's donations. It's foreign people, foreign places. 12th house is addictions. 12th house is fantasy. It's outer space and other worlds. It's also multinational companies. So, with this, we see you can be overly domineering. When it comes to your sex life, you want to have a sex life with this. Or you want to embrace spirituality. This can go either way. During this time, you would want to put energy into these avenues. Also, once again, for travel, this can be very good. Mars is showing the energy and drive to travel in the 9th house and in the 12th house. But be careful, there can be headless decisions that are made, especially due to impatience. Or even going too fast, like driving too fast. Let's say if you're like on a long road trip or something. Because Ashwini is tied to going fast. It's tied to horses, horsepower. Okay. The other thing that we see is there can be conflict with foreigners. 9th house and 12th house. These are the foreign houses. Along with the 3rd as well. But we also see you may want to invest something during this time. Or protect an investment. Because this is also an aspect of protection. You want to prevent losses with this aspect. Okay. Now, the 7th aspect of a planet is the relationship aspect. But with Mars, it brings conflict. That's falling on the 3rd house. 3rd house is younger siblings, your cousins, your neighbors, people online, on social media. So, you can get into conflict with these people. If you don't want that, now you know in advance that can happen. Now, the 8th aspect brings sudden ups and downs and transformation. That's falling on the 4th house. So, 4th house is mother figures. It's home, land, real estate. It's vehicles. It's your comfort and your happiness. So, there can be a sudden change with your mother. There can be a sudden change with your home. Maybe you're renovating a home. Maybe you're getting plumbing work done. Maybe you're getting a new home. Maybe you're getting a car repaired at a mechanic. Or getting a new car. There could be a transformation of your comfort and happiness. That could be for the worse, or that could be for the better. Okay. Well, that's what I have for you, Sagittarius. Moving on to Capricorn. Okay, Capricorn. So, for you, Capricorn, Mars and Ketu are transiting in Leo, your 8th house. Now, Mars is your energy and your drive. Mars is accidents. Mars is conflict. And Ketu is cuts. Ketu is headless. Ketu cannot use logic and reason. Ketu relies on intuition, that gut instinct. So, now you have Mars and Ketu in the 8th house. So, 8th house is your in-laws. It's joint finances and relationships and in business. It's sex. It's death, wills, inheritance, estates, legacies. It's the occult. It's research. It's psychological baggage. It's sudden ups and downs and transformation. And it's also surgeries. Now, that last point, surgeries, is very significant here for Capricorn people. You are the zodiac sign that needs to be most careful when it comes to surgery during this time. If you have a surgery scheduled, reschedule it until August or later. Do not get a surgery before then, because Ketu and Mars can show excessive bleeding. Also, 8th house is the anus. So, this is, this transit, hemorrhoids would be more of an issue for Capricorn people. I know, I hate that I know these things too. So I have to share it. Alright. But, Definitely we see there can be conflict with the people tied to the 8th house. Conflict with in-laws will definitely be there. Conflict over joint finances. And with Ketu there, these conflicts will be headless. You will start these conflicts without thinking. When it comes to joint finances, when you're dealing with the in-laws, you will make headless decisions when it comes to joint finances during this time. Especially if you try to rely on logic and reason. You have to use that intuition, that gut instinct. Here, Ketu and Mars, when they are conjunct, they trigger the nakshatra of Ashwini. Ashwini is tied to being impatient. It's also tied to healing. Now, 8th house being a house of sex. A person can be impatient to have a sexual experience, and because of that, they can be headless. Sleep with a person that they would normally not sleep with. So, worst case scenario, that could lead to an STD. So, be careful with this. Now, this can also show a lot of energy and drive being put into the occult, learning the occult, doing research. These are the areas where Mars and Ketu will be amazing here. Because Ketu is the occult, and now it's in the house of the occult. With Mars, which is providing the energy and drive to pursue these things. Okay, now let's talk about the aspects. So, there'll be a 4th aspect of protection and conquest falling on the 11th house. 11th house is elder siblings, paternal aunts and uncles. It's your friends, your network circle, large organizations, large gatherings, parties. It's stock market and gains. It's 6th from the 6th. The greatest health issues that you deal with. It's also the greatest enemy you will face in this life. It's 12th from the 12th. The greatest loss you will deal with. And it's also your hopes, wishes, and desires. So, it's a very complicated house. But with this, we see you want to protect your elder siblings during this time. But also, this is tied to conquest. So you may be overprotective, or you can over-index and want to basically take over the older siblings. Especially with Mars being in the 8th house, this could be tied to an inheritance. A conflict over an inheritance. So be careful with that. You know, those are things you should just let be. You shouldn't pretend to have any control over an inheritance. If you receive something, great. If you don't, okay. Oh well. But with this, we also see you can be overly domineering with your friends, with your network circle. Whether that's through wanting to be overprotective, to protect them, or because you want to control them. Also, Mars in the 8th house, you want sudden gains during this time. And be careful with that, because with Ketu, with that Mars, headless, impulsive decisions. Impatient. That impatience will lead to those headless decisions, headless actions. There we go. But this is good for overcoming health issues. This is good for achieving your hopes, wishes, and desires. This is good for overcoming losses. Now, with this aspect, 11th house, while it does represent losses, in transit, it tends to be more about gains. So, definitely, this energizes the house of gains. But 7th aspect is the relationship aspect of a planet. But with Mars, it brings conflict. So this is falling on the 2nd house. 2nd house is your family. 2nd house is financial institutions. So there can be conflict with your family. There can be conflict with bankers. Now this is less tied to investments. It's more people that hold your money. So banks. But you can have conflict with these people. If you don't want that, you've been forewarned. Now, the 8th aspect of sudden ups and downs and transformation is falling on the 3rd house. So, 3rd house is younger siblings, your cousins, your neighbors. It's communication of all kinds, including writing. It's marketing and sales. It's media, social media, the internet. It's your skills. It's arts and sports. It's travel. Short distance travel, but it can even be foreign travel because 12th from the 4th. Furthest place from your homeland. It's self-effort. It's 8th from the 8th. Higher form of sudden ups and downs and transformation. Transformation through self-effort. So, we see there can be a sudden change with your younger siblings. Sudden change with your cousins. A transformation of your relationship with them. Or a transformation of their health. Hopefully for the better. Unless you don't like your younger siblings or your cousin. In which case, I don't know. Hopefully you're not the cause of that, is all I can say. But, with this, we also see there can be a transformation of your artistic skills, or your skills in general. There can be a transformation of the way you communicate. There can be sudden travels that take place. There can be sudden effort that needs to be put in. And Mars is energizing this house to provide that energy to put forth that effort. Okay, that's what I have for you though, Capricorn. Moving on to Aquarius. Aquarius, for you, Mars and Ketu will be transiting in Leo, your 7th house. So Mars is your energy and drive. Mars is conflict. Mars is accidents. Now, Ketu. Ketu is cuts. Ketu is headless. Ketu cannot use logic and reason. Ketu relies on intuition, that gut instinct. So, with them being here in the 7th house is relationships, marriage, business partner. It's the masses, all the people you meet out in the world. It's 4th from the 4th, higher form of your comfort and happiness. It's 10th from the 10th, higher form of your career, your status, your fame, your reputation. It's the furthest place away from the 1st house where you were born, so it also represents foreign lands. So with this, we clearly see there can be conflict in relationships if you're already in a relationship. There can be conflict in business and with a business partner. There can be conflict with clients or customers. Conflict with lots of people can take place here. Especially with the masses. This can be a lot of people that you're in conflict with. But this is good for having the energy and the drive to achieve higher form of that comfort and happiness, to achieve something in your career, some status, some fame, some reputation. But you need to be very careful here. Mars and Ketu, when they're conjunct, it triggers the nakshatra of Ashwini, which is tied to impatience. Now, the reason that makes things so bad here is you can be impatient to the point that you take headless action. That's how this conjunction in transit works, or even in your birth chart. So, we see you can make headless decisions when it comes to relationships, when it comes to business. You can make very bad decisions here. You could begin a relationship with someone that you would normally never be in a relationship with. You could get a divorce or start the process of a divorce, even though you normally get along fine with your partner. You could get into a bad business arrangement because you're not thinking clearly. Remember, Ketu is headless. There is no head. That means, for you, there's no head when it comes to this area of life. So during this time, you need to be careful. Also, 7th house is the groin region. Mars is accidents. Ketu is cuts. So yeah, there can be some injury to the groin area. Especially if you're pissing off your relationship partner. So, there you have it. Alright. But now let's talk about the aspects of Mars. So Mars is a 4th aspect of protection, but also conquest, falling on the 10th house. So, 10th house is career, status, fame, reputation. It's your workplace, your managers, and your bosses. It's government, especially national government. It's the highest house of karma. It's your karmic actions that the world notices. So even if you're out of work or retired, 10th house still matters. So with this, you want to protect your reputation. You want to protect your career. You want to achieve some kind of status. You want to be the one in control in the workplace. This is why Mars in the 7th house can be bad for career in the regards to working under someone. Mars in the 7th house wants to be in charge in the workplace. You want to protect your government, or you want to be in control of the government with this. So be careful. This can get you into, bad situations. But 7th aspect of Mars is going to fall on the 1st house. This is the relationship aspect of a planet, but with Mars it brings conflict. So this is very simple. 1st house is you. So now people are bringing conflict your way. Be ready, because it's definitely going to happen. Now, 8th aspect of Mars brings sun ups and downs and transformation. That's falling on the 2nd house. 2nd house is your family. It's your finances, your earnings, your savings, your bank account. It's your possessions. It's what you value. It's your speech. So with this, there can be a change in your family. A transformation in your family. Your relationship with your family. There can be a transformation of your finances, hopefully for the better, because Mars is trying to help your career. But remember, you make those headless decisions, it can hurt your finances because you made a bad business decision. There can be a change with your possessions. Maybe, I don't know, you're getting rid of a bunch of things, having a yard sale or something. I don't know if they do that in the rest of the world. In the US, it's a thing. But that's something you can see with this. There can be a change in the way you speak during this time. Especially with Mars aspect. It can be more fiery. More combative. But alright. That's what I have for you, Aquarius. Moving on to Pisces. Okay, Pisces. So, for you, Mars and Ketu are transiting in Leo, the 6th house. Now, Mars is energy. Mars is your drive. Mars is conflict and accidents. And it's with Ketu. Ketu is cuts. Ketu is headless. So, Ketu being here, Ketu relies on intuition, that gut instinct. Ketu cannot use logic and reason. It's headless. So, you'll see a person can make headless actions with Ketu and Mars conjunct in transit. For you, this will be in the 6th house. So 6th house is maternal aunts and uncles. It's your pets. It's your coworkers. It's your enemies. 6th house is your everyday work, everyday routines. It's competition. It's conflict. It's health issues and accidents. There we go. It's debt. It's obstacles. Okay. So with this, clearly there can be conflict with your maternal aunts and uncles, with your coworkers, with your pets. I don't know, maybe they're tearing up stuff in the house or something. Maybe they're the ones making headless actions. Here, this can be very good for defeating your enemies, but be careful. Your headless actions can create new enemies with this as well. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. On one hand, you're able to cut your enemies, you're able to defeat your enemies, but you also create more enemies. Here, you have the energy for competition, to perform in competition, but be careful. There can be accidents, for sure, with this conjunction in the 6th house of health issues and accidents. There can also be those health issues. Now, 6th house is the lower belly, lower back region of the body. So in particular, there could be a cut or a burn, some kind of injury to that area of the body. This could be even like straining your back. So that can be seen as well. Now, when it comes to pets, this can be good for getting a dog or even a fish. Because Ketu in the 6th house of pets represents these animals. And Mars is giving the energy and drive to this house to get a pet. But there will definitely be aggravation. For instance, let's say you get a new puppy. Well, now they are making a mess of the house. So, the aggravation comes into play. But this gives you a lot of energy to perform your work. Gives you a lot of energy to overcome health issues. Now, on the flip side, yes, it can cause health issues as well. So try not to overdo it. Now, one thing I will say is if you're already dealing with health issues, this can aggravate them. But there's a flip side with Ketu and Mars as well. They trigger the nakshatra of Ashwini, which is tied to medicine, it's tied to healing, it's tied to miracles. So, while these are malefic planets, and you will see mainly malefic effects, there's also a healing element to this that can be seen as well. So don't think this will be all bad. Okay. But now, another thing before I move on to the aspects. 6th house is debt. So, Ketu and Mars, you can take headless actions due to impatience. So be careful, especially financially. You can make headless decisions and take on debt that you shouldn't. Okay. Now, let's talk about the aspects. So, there will be a 4th aspect of protection and conquest falling on the 9th house. 9th house is father figures. It's your mentors, teachers, gurus. It's religion, philosophy, the law. It's long distance travel, pilgrimage, publishing. It's counseling. It's ancestry, your ancestral lineage, not just on your father's side, but also your mother's side. 9th house is higher education beyond a bachelor's degree and outside of typical schooling. It's your luck and your fortune. So, with this, we see you can be protective of your father during this time. Or, on the flip side, you can be overly domineering to the point of even controlling the father, or attempting to. Same thing with your mentor, your teacher. During this time, you may really want to travel. Maybe that's why you make a headless decision and take on debt. Or you really want a higher education, which especially in the US, that would mean taking on a student loan. Which, yes, can be a very headless decision. Now, with this though, you can also be overly domineering when it comes to the law. Be very careful with this, because Ketu and Mars are in the 6th house of legal disputes. Mars aspecting the ninth house of the law, and Ketu and Mars, in particular, that conjunction triggers Ashwini, which is tied to impatience and it's tied to going fast. It's also tied to cars, because horses, horsepower. Horses are the symbol of Ashwini. So, you can see there can be impatience that leads to driving fast, which can lead to getting a speeding ticket, which can lead to issues with the law. You see how all this connects. So be careful, because if you try to be, overly domineering with a lawyer or a judge or a cop, that can land you in hot water. So, let's talk about the seventh aspect. Seventh aspect is the relationship aspect of a planet. With Mars, it will bring conflict, though. That's falling on the 12th house. So 12th house is foreign people, spiritual people. It's also multinational companies. I don't think you'll be getting into conflict with multinational companies, but I guess for the 1%, maybe that matters. But there can be conflict with foreign and spiritual people. So, in advance, that could be an issue. Now, the eighth aspect of sun ups and downs and transformation is going to fall in the first house. So first house is you, your physical health, your body. It's your overall path in life. So now there's a transformation that will take place with you. You want to make sure that this is for the better. So if you know you're having any significant health issues, make sure that you are doing what you can to overcome them, because this can go poorly. Make sure this Ketu and Mars are working in your favor, that they're not transforming your health for the worse. Try to have them work for you. Put energy in improving your health during this time. Now, the other thing that you'll notice real quick before we move on is Ketu and Mars. They're both fiery planets. They're in the 6th house of the lower belly, stomach. So there can be like indigestion, heartburn. There can be gastrointestinal issues that take place with this. So those are, in particular, are something to look out for. Okay, that's what I have for you though, Pisces. Okay. I swear, every time I do these transit videos, they get longer and longer. Alright. But, hopefully this has been helpful to y'all. I know I've been absent a while. I was dealing with some health issues of my own. But, I've overcome them. So, if you like this video, be sure to, like and subscribe if you want to see more great content like it. And to be notified whenever I release a new video, be sure to hit the bell icon and select all. If you'd like a Vedic Sidereal birth chart, a personal tarot reading, or an astrology consultation, the links to those will be in the description box in the comments below. And if you'd like to donate to help support the channel, the links to those will be in the description box as well. Also, last note, the Ketu over planets video will be releasing tomorrow. Just wanted to let y'all know. Alright, but thanks for watching, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.